You're listening to Trailblazers.fm, an interview-styled podcast that delves deep into bold conversations with successful Black entrepreneurs and leaders. Join us weekly to learn actionable strategies, valuable tactics, and innovative tools that you can put to use immediately on your journey to blazing your trail. And now, here's your host, my husband, Stephen A. Hart.
Hello and good morning, Blazer Nation. Happy Friday. Thank you for joining us for another live. My name is Stephen A. Hart. I'm the host of Trailblazers.fm. If this is your first time checking us out, good morning. I just want to say thank you so much for joining our stream. If you've been part of our Blazer Nation community going back 5 years, big ups, appreciate you. We value your support as we explore stories, right, of these amazing Black leaders and entrepreneurs. Our hope is that we impart the know-how, the confidence, and the motivational mission fuel that you need to blaze your trail. One more thing, if you did not yet like this video, there are a whole bunch of icons right there on the bottom right. On LinkedIn, right? Go ahead and tap that love, tap that like icon a few times to me. Make sure that we are connected. Follow me on LinkedIn, subscribe over on YouTube, share this video up right now, or watching this conversation that we're about to have, but share it with somebody that you think it would impact most, right? Today, I am so excited. I'm about to introduce our guest here. His name is Jabari Johnson. He's the founder of Colors Worldwide and R&B Only. And Jabari, welcome, brother. Actually, I still have you muted. Here we go.
Here we go. Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much, Stephen, for having me on the show.
No worries, man. Good morning to everybody joining us over on LinkedIn and YouTube and wherever else we're streaming to right now. Jabari, I love to start these conversations off from a place of gratitude. And so the very first question I always ask our guests is, what are you most grateful for in your life right now?
Well, right now, I would say I'm grateful for the opportunity to empower people. I look at empowerment from, many different ways. The opportunity to, empower artists and, creators of, some of the music that I love, which is R&B. The ability to empower people at our company who work and live and breathe this music, that they're able to have careers, and now with our equity crowdfunding campaign, just the ability to empower fans, and we've done something very unique, and we're able to actually give co-ownerships and sell co-ownership in this small idea that was in my head a few years ago, and now people are actually co-owners of it with me that are just fans of the brand. So really, I think empowering other people is just a huge thing that I'm grateful for right now.
Yes I love this person says empower people.
Absolutely.
I love that, brother. Tell me a little bit about you. What's your backstory? Where are you from? Where are you right now?
Yeah, for sure. So I'm from all over the place, man. I'm the product of two separated parents, so I moved all around. But basically, between New York, all over New York, and Columbus, Ohio, is where I grew up. Then I went to college in DC at the magnificent Howard University.
HU.
Yeah, HU, and then after that, moved back to New York. Is where I really kind of I started my career in DC, and then moved back to New York. Was working in entertainment, worked at a record label, and then left that label and kind of started doing my own thing in New York. And then I moved to Los Angeles, and I've been in Los Angeles for about 8 years. And yeah, that's kind of where I call home. I've never lived anywhere in my life longer than Los Angeles, so it really feels like home to me. And yeah, so Los Angeles is where I reside right now. But we're actually moving the company very soon, and everybody's moving to Miami, Florida. So yeah, Los Angeles is home for a little bit longer, but not for too long.
So you're going to Miami after this? Next stop?
Yeah, next stop is Miami in a few months, man. We're gonna set up shop down there and continue to build from Florida.
So let's talk about what you have happening right now. You're the CEO of two companies, Colors Worldwide and R&B Only. Tell us a little bit about.
Yeah. Well, Colors Worldwide is actually one company, and R&B Only is a brand underneath. It's like
got it.
Yeah. So Colors Worldwide, the way we like to think of our company is a unique way. So we are a genre amplification company, right? And so what that means is we try to take underserved genres, R&B being our first one, and the first sort of product that we launched was called R&B Only. And R&B Only is basically, it started as an event. So over the past 5 years, we created a DJ-based touring entity that basically does shows all around the world, primarily in North America. We produce shows where we play R&B music from past to present. There's a lot of production at our shows. Our shows look similar to like an EDM show, electronic dance music, but for R&B music.
Wow.
And we built this tremendous audience in the live space. And our goal was always to, not just do shows and, be a live events company, but to create media, to, release music, to, have a merch division, to, have a sort of artist development, arm of the company, and essentially just provide all these products that ultimately result in an ecosystem of just amplifying and getting R&B music out there more to the masses, because we feel that R&B has just been like underserved in the music marketplace, right? So like when you look at R&B music, number one, a lot of people just equate R&B to the golden era of R&B, like the 90s.
Like old heads like me, Jabari.
but there's a ton of new R&B music that we want to push and get out there to the forefront. And when we think about like places to go for new R&B music, or how people absorb new R&B music, or how people even absorb like stories of R&B, or for sure in the event space there was nothing like what we were providing. I mean, there's just so many holes and places to fill as it relates to amplifying the genre and getting more people interested. I don't think it's really like more people need to be interested. I think that like a lot of people need to be awakened, and and there's like a discovery problem with R&B music, and that's what we wanted to sort of conquer.
So let me ask so many questions. Young black man, why R&B, right? What drew you to R&B? Are you old soul? Were you kind of you grew up loving R&B? What was it about R&B, and why not pursue a channel in maybe spinning off this EDM kind of concert live element into hip hop? What drew you to R&B?
Well, I say like I fell into R&B because I'm a hip hop kid, through and through. That's my favorite genre of music. I grew up listening to hip hop. I am anybody who knows me knows I love like lyrics and, you know, just like bars and just raps. So I was actually throwing very small hip hop parties, right? So at first I would throw these hip hop events, and at the end of the shows, I always kind of like to tone it down on the hip hop and like have my DJs, you know, play R&B sets. And the R&B sets I found would kind of be the best parts of the night. And I would see, you know, some people would start coming to these events just for the R&B sets at the end.
Really?
And it was just a complete shift in the dynamic of people. And this is like 5-6 years ago. And it was a complete like shift in the dynamic of how people were, you know, engaging with the music that night. And I one night I just got on the stage, grabbed the mic, and I said, hey, if we did an R&B only event, and I didn't even know I was gonna name this brand R&B. I didn't know anything, but I said, if we do like an R&B only event, would you guys come? And the crowd just erupted, man. It was crazy, and like everybody would start screaming, and I was like, all right, we're gonna do like a R&B only show. And
that's a way to pull the audience.
Yeah. And you know, this is like, you know, doing that research, but like in real life,
in real time.
Yeah. And we had an event, and like at that time, like my biggest events were like 400 people, maybe 500 people. And at the first show, 400 people showed up. And that was like kind of similar to the numbers of my hip hop events.
Wow.
And then we did another one, and like 600 people came. And we did another one, and then like 800 people came. And then like the fourth one, it was like 1,000 people. And I was like, okay, like let's sort of move into this realm. And never looked back since. Yeah.
That's an amazing story. So listen, I know nothing goes from A to B, right? Without some dips in the middle, building this thing, right? And I know as a live events company, the pandemic and 2020 couldn't have been probably a bigger headache for you.
Yeah.
How did you navigate this season? What have you guys been able to do to pivot in light of the pandemic?
Yeah, so I'll talk about some of the things that we did from a pivot perspective on the live event side first, and then I'll talk about sort of like, you know, just overall where we're going. I say this, you know, the pandemic was actually the best thing that happened to us. And I think that I always have like an optimistic look on life, and just, you know, that's kind of how I operate. And I try not to, you know, I always look at like, what is the lesson here in any sort of like, you know, challenge or failure or whatever, you know? So, so for us, why I say it was the best thing that happened was, number one, it forced us as the live events part of our business, we had to get creative. And some of those ways that we got creative was, you know, when everybody wasn't doing any events or couldn't do any events in, you know, normal venues, we started, you know, thinking about how can we do shows outside? How can we do shows where people don't need to be near each other? And we started producing drive-in shows. And at this time, you know, there was like no real benchmark, or, you know, during the pandemic, we've seen a lot of people have drive-in shows, not really a huge amount, but people have heard of drive-in shows. When we started producing drive-in shows in September 2020, I mean, there was like, especially in California, I think there was like maybe 2 other people that have done it, or 3 entities maybe. I mean, there was no real benchmark. I mean, we're used to producing live events and concert venues in places that, you know, where you go to hear live music, not in like a valley in the middle of a, you know, a mountain type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, so we had to, you know, get creative, and we found all these cool, unique spaces. I mean, just some of the places to name where we did events. Like I said, we did it in a valley, in like a mountainous area in Orange County. We took over a golf course, a driving range in San Francisco. Yeah. And then we did one in just a parking lot of an arena in Atlanta. So, I mean, we produced shows in like wherever we could, as long as it was safe. And that was something that we did to get creative. Another thing that we started doing was we just got really big into live streaming, and we started doing unique things in a live streaming space where we found that live streaming for us, our show our live show is really made for in person. So we said there's no way we can replicate what we do at a concert venue and do it online, but we can adapt what we do and maybe make it a little different. And so what we did was like, we took moments that people celebrate in general, i.e. holidays, right? So we did a really big New Year's Eve stream, and we, had a countdown for every single time zone in the United States. We had a 5-hour DJ set of past to present R&B music, and we just celebrated with our fan base, online. And then we did that same thing in the height when we had that second wave of the pandemic in the States, in January, February, where a lot of stuff was locked down and people couldn't go anywhere. It was Valentine's Day. So that was a day that like people wanted to celebrate. They wanted to go out, and they really couldn't in a lot of places. And so we decided to sort of have this whole date night special on Valentine's Day where people could, we encouraged our audience to set up their homes like it was a restaurant, like it was something special. And we would provide the soundtrack to that night. And so it was a night dedicated to the lovers, dedicated to people who, needed to experience some self-love. And it was just amazing. So, I think those are the ways that we really tried to, pivot and do other things. And then I think the last thing is, our whole goal of growth was to incorporate, the money that we were making from our live shows and reinvest that to get into things outside of live shows, like I was talking about. And obviously that slowed down because we just, we couldn't make as much from live shows. So we decided to, research something called equity crowdfunding. And, when we figured, why don't we, instead of keeping the plan of expansion internal and like, just doing it by ourselves and, using the funds from events to get into things outside of events, why don't we let our audience know about the plans? Why don't we let them know we want to get into media? We want to get into, content creation. We want to get into, creating tools for artists and R&B creators to further their careers. Why don't we just let everybody know about that stuff and, sell equity in our company and have people sort of invest in our growth outside of live events? Instead of just waiting for live events to come back, we wanted to be proactive.
Let me pause you for a second, because I mean, as a marketing person, let me just tell you, you taking me to school. I mean, you're a young Black man who is building a company. You're listening to this audience through and through, right? Like you're at a DJ set and you're watching the energy, you're watching the sets. You're watching the problem scream out at you. You provide a solution. I'm listening to this creative genius that, I mean, doing a drive-in show is just amazing to me. So let me just pause you. Let me commend you on amazing pivot during the pandemic. Question about the funding, right? You said, you researched equity crowdfunding. Before doing that, before going to the audience, before that idea arose, was it a case that you tried getting other traditional funding sources, like trying to go the traditional routes, and it didn't work out?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the past, I never really like sought out funding. It was more of like an inbound thing. So, but when it did arise, I've had multiple situations of people trying to invest in the company, but the one that sort of hit me the most and took the most time and I learned the most lessons from was a situation that I had about 2 years ago in 2019. A company tried to invest, and we thought this was a great partnership. We thought that it was a music company that had a fund, and it was going to help us grow in the live event space. And but the terms were ultimately, constantly changing in the negotiation of the deal. So it started out as, hey, Jabari, you have a great company, you have a great business model, you have a great idea. What type of capital do you need? We told them the capital that we needed, and it was like, oh yeah, okay, cool. We're not trying to, we're not trying to control your business. We want you to still control your business. I'm a sole founder. I don't have any co-founders. I've invested my own personal money into this business and used, I don't really come from this world of like raising capital and raising money to grow something. Like, my idea of raising money is making money. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like having a business, you become profitable, and you put the business back in, and you try to spend more than you make, basically.
Right.
So and because my business was profitable early on, I just figured out how to do that. And so back to the company that was trying to invest in us, things just kept changing, and the control ultimately is what kept changing. And it was like, at first, yeah, you're going to control everything. And then it was like, oh, well, we're going to need a board seat. We're going to need approvals over, if you decide to spend this much money, it's going to need to be a unanimous board decision. And it was just
coming on.
It was a lot of restrictions and a lot of, and it was like, then it was, oh, your equity in the company has to now vest once you do. And it was like, I own 100% of my company right now. Like, this is crazy. Like, I'm going to take, $1 million from you guys.
Yeah. And
then like, my equity is now going to have to vest when like I own everything right now.
Right.
And I just don't, it just was crazy to me. So, so yeah, ultimately the control, the vesting, and a lot of the terms were just something that, even though at the time we could have really used the capital to grow, but I just could not, I was 4 years into my company that I started. I was like, this was not a partnership where these people were coming in, early on at the company's inception or anything like that. So I just decided to walk away from the deal. And at the time, I saw a lot of similar things were happening with some of my peers, and just just other creative people and just artists. All like these type of deals are presented to you, and a lot of times you think you have to take them. And so I decided to write about it and write about my experience in hopes to sort of like inspire other folks to not you don't always have to take the deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay to walk away. There will be more deals as long as you keep growing and keep doing what you're doing. And it just might take a little bit longer, but I sort of wanted to encourage other entrepreneurs and creatives and artists to understand that there are alternative methods. And I wrote about it, and it kind of went viral. And if people want to go check that article out, if you just Google why I turned down $1 million, it's like the first thing that pops up. And if it doesn't, you can just put why I turned down $1 million, Jabari, and it'll definitely pop up. But yeah, that was my fundraising history prior to what we're doing now with equity crowdfunding.
Jabari, you're, man, how old are you, young man?
I'm 34.
You're 34. You're in your mid-30s. And
yep.
I wish I had your genius in my mid-30s. I mean,
oh, thank you, man. I wish I had it a little earlier. The stuff that I see with these kids and it's crazy. I love that information is so readily available to anybody right now.
Yeah.
That I'm seeing such cool things and creativity happen with people that are 10 years younger than me. You know what I mean? Even younger than that. I mean, so many people on my team are extremely young. One of my one of my employees, I hired him literally out of high school, like a few days after he graduated, you know.
Mm.
And I'm just like, how did you learn all this stuff? This stuff was not, I didn't have this stuff when I was your age, you know. He was like fixing computers and like learning how to program stuff. He's our creative programmer. So all of the stuff that you see at our shows with visuals, the sort of creative direction on our stage design and all that stuff, he just knows how to do all this stuff. And, you know, the kid is like not even 21 yet. It's crazy.
Man, this is amazing. So let's circle back to the equity crowdfunding. Explain what that is, and let's talk through why you went in that direction and why you're advocating for it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I love that you said that. I'm definitely advocating for equity crowdfunding in general, right? Because just to sort of like back it up so people get an overview. I'm not like an equity crowdfunding expert, but I know a little something, right? Because I've been down this road. But essentially what equity crowdfunding is if a lot of people know what Kickstarter, you know, Indiegogo, GoFundMe, these type of things are. These are crowdfunding sites where you're usually, you know, you're committing. I wouldn't say investing, but you're committing to a campaign for something to get done. Maybe it is for, you know, some sort of like charity, right? Like that's kind of where like the GoFundMe, you know, thing lies. You know, people are trying to get something done, and so they and they don't have the funds themselves, so they go to the crowd to source the funds to get something done. Kickstarter, you know, is something like maybe you have a product that is coming out, and you know, maybe you have like the prototype for a board game, and you know, you want people to pre-buy that board game, but you need the funds to make it. So that's kind of like the basis of Kickstarter, and that's that's the type of crowdfunding that people know. Equity crowdfunding is different because you throw the word equity in the beginning of it, and it changes the whole ball game. What you're doing is selling co-ownership or some form of usually, you know, equity, or it could be a SAFE, which is a simple agreement for future equity. It could be, you know, you might be doing a profit share. There's all these different types of equity crowdfunding, but essentially it's like being able to invest in a private company early. Very similar to, you know, like angel investing, or, you know, just, you know, that kind of thing. But this thing that happened in, I believe, 2016 with the Obama administration, it was called the Jobs Act, that allowed the average person to invest in private early stage companies. And so previously that was limited to just accredited investors, which accredited investors basically means people with a net worth of over $1 million. And so, and
substantial income.
Yeah, exactly. And what's cool and amazing now, and why I've become an advocate for it, is because, you know, the rules have recently changed. So recently the limit for the most common equity crowdfunding regulation is called a Reg CF, and the limit used to be companies were only able to raise up to $1 million or $1.07 million, and now the limit has 5x, and it's 5 million now. That's huge. And so, you know, when you look at the stats of the amount of Black and brown founders that actually receive traditional venture capital, I think last year was below 3%. You know, and so I'm an advocate of letting folks know, hey, this is an alternative way. You don't have, if you have a big idea, if you have, you know, a company that you can tell a story on, you can, you know, show profitability, you can show financial history, you can show all these things. You should, you know, think about empowering and getting your audience involved in, you know, raising funds and raising capital if you need it, because it is historically difficult for us to get capital from traditional VC. So this, and with the limits increasing, you know, if you can raise, like raising $1 million is like, $1 million in venture today is it's different than $1 million 10 years ago. It's different than $1 million 5 years ago, right? Like, but $5 million, that's a whole nother ball game, and you can really, start some big things with that kind of capital. So it's very important, I think, for our people to know about what is going on, and know that this is another option, and it's a viable option for you to raise capital for your business.
So Jabari, are there different platforms like a Kickstarter that are equity crowdfunding driven?
Yes, there's so many platforms. So the one that we're using right now, I would encourage everyone to go to the link startengine.com/RNB only. One thing to note with equity crowdfunding is you have to get approved. It's not just there's a lot of SEC regulations with equity crowdfunding, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I mean, our campaign took about 5 months to work on before it even launched, so we had to really dedicate ourselves. It was a very strenuous process to get all the stuff that we needed to get in order, that the SEC needed to review. There's a lot of compliance, and you have to sort of like go through not particularly like a formal audit, but you have to do things like an independent financial review, and you have to have these platforms really dig into your business and make sure you're running a legit operation and not like some scamming people, because this is so new, and the SEC has a lot of stringent rules that you need to follow. But once you get all that stuff done, it's absolutely worth it. And so Start Engine is the platform that we use. Once again, it's startengine.com/RNB only, and you can check out our campaign there. And there's other ones like WeFunder. There's ones like Republic. And yeah, people are doing amazing things on a lot of these platforms. And they break companies down by industry, and they make it really really easy for people to understand how to invest in companies. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
So with Start Engine, you've been able to set up, and I brought this screen up. You've been able to raise now close to $250,000, and you're allowed to raise up to $1 million. Are you able to access the money that you've raised so far, or are you only able to access the funds at a certain point?
Great question. So right now, our campaign is set to 1 million, and we're actually, I think it should be getting extended very soon. And so once that happens, number one, you're able to draw. It's called like drawing down on the funds. So we've been able to take some of those funds, put those put those funds into actual use right now. There are some limitations on when, and I think you have to raise a certain amount before you are able to actually draw down on funds. But yeah, definitely you don't have to wait until the campaign is over to access the funds. So you can actually get to work on some of the things that you need to have happen at the time of the raise.
This is amazing. So like, how do you structure the term? So before you talk to us about not having favorable terms with that initial $1 million being offered to you, are you the person setting the terms now within the equity crowdfunding, and somebody either accepts or they don't?
Yeah, how it works is you set up, like, as the company, you basically set up the terms. You basically you have to sort of like go into detail on the offering details page, and that's where like everything can kind of be seen. But it's pretty simple in terms of terms and all of that stuff. You're essentially saying, this is what we are offering, and if you want to get involved at these terms, then you can, basically. You know what I mean? So yeah, it gives you a lot of freedom as the entrepreneur, and it basically puts the terms just like flat out there in front of, you know, the audience. And if they want to get involved, you know, they very well can.
I absolutely love this. I think this is an amazing channel. Annette in our community here, she's asking, you know, is this something that's limited by geography? So is SEC
great question.
mandating that you can't receive international funds?
Yeah, so I believe I can't speak to every single platform. I know on Start Engine you can I think it's you can be anywhere except Canada and the UK in terms of investors. So that's the only limitation, I think. But yeah, I'm not sure about the other platforms, but I know on Start Engine they don't allow investors from Canada and the UK. Don't know why. And it sucks because
and it's in Canada. So I know that's what.
Oh wow. Yeah. So, you know, that's the thing that really is a travesty.
So I imagine that there's anti-money laundering, you know, elements of you know, built into that whole regulatory piece with SEC, and it's something worth learning more about. You know, when your team reached out to me, I was very much wanting to have this conversation with you.
Yeah.
I am so happy that we talked about this because you're an amazing Black man building an amazing brand.
Thank you.
Absolutely commend you because as a brand strategist, as a marketer, I love that you are in tune with who your audience is and that you're providing them a solution to a problem that they have. I'm excited to see what you build with the capital that you're able to raise, as well as coming on the back end of this pandemic and we get back to live events. What that creative mind of yours puts out in the world. So I'm encouraging you, I'm acknowledging you for, you know, just doing the amazing work that you're doing and encouraging you to keep pushing on. We've talked about R&B only. We've talked about, you know, what you're doing. How can, beyond the campaign here, which we've shared up in our comments, how can we connect with you? How can we, you know, where can we follow you on social and stay abreast of all the good things you're doing?
Yeah, so we actually just launched something really, really cool to get this, you know, a new R&B out in the world. So I definitely would encourage people to go to this website, new.rnbonly.com. Very simple. new.rnbonly.com. It's a newsletter product that we just released, and it's new music comes out every single Friday. New R&B music, new music in general comes out on Fridays, and so we have a newsletter that our team curates the best R&B music that comes out every Friday, and it is you get the email. There are 5 selections of albums and songs that has been handpicked by our team that we feel like this is the R&B that you need to listen to right now. And you just, you know, tap play and you can choose like whatever streaming service that you want to play it in. But it's a way where it's been growing like crazy. This newsletter is about to be huge. Like by the summertime, it's I mean, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I mean, there's tens of thousands of people on this thing right now.
Wow.
And, you know, but people love it. They love getting the music straight to them. It's not a playlist. It's not, you know, something where you have to go seek it out. You can just count on that every single Friday, R&B Only is going to send me the best R&B. It's just really simple, honestly. You know what I mean? And so that's where I'd encourage people to hit. We're also on Instagram. I mean, we're heavy on Instagram at R&B Only. And, you know, definitely, yeah, the Start Engine. But we have a lot of stuff coming. We have a lot of content coming. Our first digital show is about to be released in June. So look out for that. But yeah, we just have so much more stuff. And then we have if you actually, events are coming back slowly but surely. And if you go to rnbonly.com/calendar, We have a Texas tour coming up. So we have 3 shows happening in Texas at like 75% capacity. We are getting ready to announce a big show in Tampa and another show in Arizona. And yes, certain states, certain cities, as people get vaccinated, restrictions are sort of starting to loosen. We're getting to 50%, 75%, and we even have some 100% capacity shows coming up. So yeah, we're getting there. We're getting back, and our live show, we've had a lot of time to sit down and really think about what to do in that front, and our live show is just going to be like better than ever. I mean, it's going to be incredible now. So if you go to rnbonly.com/calendar, you can get involved and see when we're going to be in cities across America.
Right. Listen, before we wrap up, I want to ask you two last questions here.
Absolutely.
Are you somebody that consumes, like, how do you, are you somebody that reads? Are you a consumer? I know you're a consumer of audio. Are you big on podcasts? Any books that you're reading right now, or maybe that you've read recently that you are inspired by and want to share with our community?
Oh yeah. If you can see, my bookshelf is back there. So
There we go.
I'm an avid reader. I think, there's a book that really changed a lot of stuff for me in terms of marketing. I just want to Google it to make sure I get the title right. It's been a while.
As we're talking, as you're looking that up, I'm a big audiobook consumer. I have tons of books behind me, and I'm always working on a couple books at a time. But I just this week I'm listening to Seth Godin's Tribes.
Oh, yes.
And listening to you talk today, I mean, you've built an amazing tribe, right?
Yes,
which is amazing.
And we're still trying to build it. We have a long way to go. But I think that the book that really changed a lot of stuff for me as a marketer was a book by Ryan Holiday called Growth Hacker Marketing.
Yes.
And just, thinking about growth hacking, I mean, as well, I'm the CMO of our company as well as the CEO. So marketing is a huge thing for me. And I'm always thinking about how to grow this audience, and I have a great team that helps implement some of these strategies and things. But yeah, Growth Hacker Marketing by Ryan Holiday, that's one. I think there's just so many books. I mean, now audio as well. There's a podcast that I really love called My First Million. That's a podcast where they just talk about, kind of ways to think about business and maybe things that people wouldn't think about. They sort of like shed light on what are some areas that people might not be thinking about, but might be huge opportunities in. So yeah, it's called My First Million. I really love that podcast. I'm a huge podcast guy.
Jabari, do you listen to Indie Hackers?
Oh yeah, Indie Hackers. I listen to that as well.
Because I'm thinking, like, man, you should reach out to the team at Indie Hackers, because I'd love to hear you, chop it up with those guys.
Yep, I do listen to that one. There's so many. Hold on, let me open my podcast app really quick because when I'm on a spot, I'm like, but let me just. Oh, there's a short one called Marketing School that I really like. It's like 4 minutes. It's like every episode is like 1 to 4 minutes, but it's just like little daily tips about marketing. There's one called Creator Lab that I really like. Let's see here. Master of Scale.
Master of Scale. I love Master of Scale.
Yeah, Reid Hoffman. I like that one a lot. And then I can't forget my boys at Earn Your Leisure. Earn Your Leisure is a big one of mine. Those are my really good friends, Rashad and Troy. I've been on that show plenty of times, but I love just the business chats that they have with entrepreneurs and people doing cool things.
Have you connected?
And now yours. You know, I'm this conversation is amazing. I'm definitely gonna go back in your library. I mean, you have a lot of people that I know that have been on this show, so I'm gonna go back and check this out for sure.
Yeah, everybody in the comments is loving that you brought up Arlan. Have you connected with Arlan Hamilton?
Oh, I haven't connected with her, but I've seen her
Absolutely
growth, her journey. I've seen a lot of stuff, and she's done an equity crowdfunding campaign as well.
Yeah. I mean, that's her world, right?
Yep.
I hope that whoever's watching us over on Twitter will tag Arlan. I want Arlan and Jabari to connect. Good things will come from that for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I respect everything that she's doing and that she's been able to accomplish. It's been amazing.
And she has a pretty dope book as well that you should add to your queue.
Okay, will do.
We're about to wrap up here. I just want to ask you one last question. What's one action that our Blaze Nation community, who has been absorbing everything you've been putting out today, and we are all so very inspired by you, but what's one action that as we come away from this live stream today, what can we put into action that's going to help us to blaze our trail?
Yeah. I would say, really simply, and a lot of people say this, but just start. You can figure out stuff later. Things don't need to be perfect, like it's important. If you have an idea, if you have something that you want to do, if you're trying to blaze this trail, you have to ship a product. You have to get something out there. You know what I mean? Like, and you can look at the first version of what Facebook looked like. Look at the first version of what Airbnb looked like. Or look at the first version
of an iPhone, right?
Of an iPhone, right? These things were garbage. You know what I mean? Like, these things sucked when they first came out and compared to where they are now. But they came out,
right.
And so many people use perfection and
they seek after the perfection. I actually have a couple t-shirts, right? One that I'm wearing this morning says execution over excuses.
Exactly, man.
And I have another one, that I have several. So the ticker tape here, grab some merch.
Yes.
Support a brother on.
Yes. Yes. I mean, that your shirt says it all, and that's really what I think cripples a lot of people, is just, and listen, let the audience tell you, like, it's not good. You can always change it. You can iterate. And that's what business is. It's iterating. It's changing stuff. It's tinkering. It's A/B testing. It's learning from, what is happening with the results. But you cannot get to results if the idea is just in your head, or if it's just on your computer, or if it's just in your notebook. So that's huge to me. I think people just need to just start and get whatever they're doing out there to the public.
Well, listen, Jabari, you are now a part of the Blaze Nation community.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Thank you
so very much. You've inspired us all. I'm encouraged. I literally messaged Annette this morning, got up. I'd been grinding till about 1 a.m. this morning, literally fell asleep right here, working on the computer. And I struggled up this morning, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make this live, work the way I want it to this morning. Took a long walk with the dog, got back, and I was like, all right, let's go. Let's see what happens. And, it's not always the case that, we know. Listen, Jabari and I met 2 seconds before this conversation started.
Yeah.
And, such amazing things came out of it when we just started. And so your advice hits home right here, right? And so I appreciate you. I, again, acknowledge you for all the work you're doing. Please keep in contact with our community. You're
Absolutely.
welcome back anytime that you have stuff happening. Keep us in the loop. And
Absolutely.
I encourage everybody to check out Jabari's campaign. Again, I will share. Let's go ahead and share that link up again. Support the campaign. Hop on over to that site. He's working at raising $1 million, right? He's close to $250,000. There's time
and
on the clock.
it will be extended. It will be extended.
It'll be extended, but I want everybody. Urgency is good. I want folks to hop in and support this. And for those who are considering needing capital, go research equity crowdfunding and share what you've learned, right? Let's continue to pour into each other and help some other young Black and brown brothers and sisters looking to start their own business. Look at an alternate channel to fund what they're doing. Listen, go out, have a fantastic weekend. Join us back here on Monday for another great live. Enjoy.
All right. Peace, everyone.
Thanks for spending time with us today. If we aren't yet connected, let's keep the conversation going on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, we grow when you subscribe, share, and invite others to check us out. We believe that others who consume these stories will be moved to make significant changes that have generational impact for many others, both now and well into the future. Blaze Nation, go out today and keep